You've seen this show, so you know that baked into it is the idea that we're going to come under fire, no matter what. To me, it's exciting. It's engagement. If people are saying bad things, they're still paying attention.
Was there ever thought of the possibility of maybe her crossing paths in the future with Deadpool now that he's part of the MCU?
Still in control, no overwhelming feelings of rage.
No, a normal amount of rage.
You do revert back to Gen form when you sleep.
Was the air horn really necessary?
For comedy, absolutely.
So, a big fan of the MCU, have been, loved every one of the series so far, but without a doubt, this is my favorite of all the series so far. It's just hilarious. It's got all the connections to everything. And as I'm watching it, I realized it's difficult enough for a director to helm action sequences. But what is it like having to do comedy and action with just the level of special effects that are needed on a production like this?
Well, thanks for noticing. No, it was the biggest challenge of the series, honestly, because I come from a, very, comedic background. And the philosophy in most comedy is turn the cameras on actors, let them be loose, just play around. Don't do too much blocking. And then we're dealing with the MCU, and I'm a fan of the MCU also. And so it was very important for me to honor the visuals and make it look spectacular and have the action sequences be good. And so it was always just finding scene by scene, the moments where we wanted to go big and then the moments where we had to go small to honor that comedy.
It's a real buffet, which is my favorite style of eating.
Awesome.
Everyone gets a little bit of what they like, for me, first and foremost, I started with the comedy because my background is in writing TV comedies. That is my wheelhouse. So, it was very comedy forward. But of course, we always had to be aware that it is connected to the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it still feels like it needs to fit within that universe. It might be like a very far off corner. It might be uncharted territory, but it still kind of has to match. I do think that the format of the show, the fact that it's a 30-minute legal comedy, really lends itself to actually just organically tying it together with this greater universe, because we have this built-in reason for people to show up, for us to make references to the rest of what's been happening in the universe.
You have so much more to learn. Yes!
So I'm clearly nailing it at all of these things.
No show sort of embodies that more than She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Even that title, She-Hulk Attorney at Law. This is a lawyer, legal comedy, very much in the tonal, taking tonal inspiration from Dan Slott's famous run of She-Hulk comics, and going back to John Byrne's amazing fourth wall breaking run of She-Hulk, and using all of that to hopefully bring something to Disney Plus that people haven't seen before. Certainly not from Marvel Studios.
There was, when the first teasers and trailers came out, there was obviously everybody on the internet putting their 2 cents in about the quality of the special effects. And I cannot wait for them to see how it looks, because it just looks so phenomenal. Did that give you any pause when you first heard those reactions, or did you have confidence in how it was going to look in the end?
You've seen this show, so you know that baked into it is the idea that we're going to come under fire, no matter what. There are people on Twitter who are going to be negative. So we always knew that was going to be part of it. To me, it's exciting. It's engagement. If people are saying bad things, they're still paying attention. And I really, truly believe that she's so different from all the CGI characters that have come before that she was a little bit jarring. And I think the more promotional materials have come out, the more people get a chance to digest her and have her be a part of, the MCU. I think they're going to love her. And I think once you get into the show, it's fun and entertaining, and hopefully they can relax and have a good time and not be so negative.
I think she'll be relatable because she's just incredibly flawed and bad at being a hero, and it doesn't fit her very well, but she's kind of thrust into this spotlight in a way that she struggles with. And I think any human struggle is compelling to watch, so I think people will relate to her in that sense.
Jen, do your thing. God, I really like this outfit. I'm not proud of this.
The post-credit scene in the first episode is now the single greatest line in the MCU, bar none. It is absolutely brilliant.
That is my favorite tag of the entire series. And I mean, I'm just so thrilled that we were able to A, answer the question, and B, give Tatiana that line.
Mark and Tatiana have this incredible, playful, fun energy, and they're both wonderful improvisers. And as soon as I saw them together, despite dealing with all of the technical ramifications of shooting 2 CGI characters, I knew that we had to find a way to let them play. And a lot of what they do informed the show. And, you know, there's a whole sequences in that episode that were added based on watching them play around together. The warm-up scene was really not on the page. And then, you know, they've talked about how being in those suits together made them feel like outsiders, and that made them have this incredible sibling-like bond. So we wanted to capitalize on that as much as possible.
It's really exciting, and it's time for She-Hulk, and it was great to be able to pass the baton. Although she didn't need to pass the baton, she came with her own baton, and. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's so much fun to do.
If you want to go back to your life as a lawyer, I respect that.
He doesn't mean that.
One of the other big noticeable things, and you've addressed it before, is the fourth wall breaking that Jen does in the series, which is handled really well. It is funny, and there's that one where kind of Bruce kind of looks over like maybe he heard it a little bit. Was there ever thought of the possibility of maybe her crossing paths in the future with Deadpool now that he's part of the MCU?
Of course, we talked about it amongst ourselves, but you know, there's always, when you do anything with Marvel, there's always kind of borderlands of what you can't touch, you know, and
Sure.
There's always like timing and rights issues and what else is being used and availabilities. So it was, you know, it never got to the point where we were like, oh, this of course will happen. You know, we really just had to kind of focus on you know, what we could use and the characters that we had available to us.
You know that friend you had in high school who was way cooler than you were attractive, got all the attention from everyone? Hello.
And we know that nothing is certain in the MCU, in entertainment, whatever. If this show really hits home, is this something that you would be returning to for a season 2? Do you have aspirations to do something bigger in the MCU, or is there a character you'd like to work on?
Well, you know, I'm right now doing a new Disney Plus series that I'm directing and executive producing, and then I've got 2 movies coming up after that. So I'm going to be busy for a little while. That being said, I would always come back to the MCU. It's my dream, and I had such a fun time doing this. So I would say never say never.
More and more eccentric superhumans are coming out of the woodwork. We're going to launch a division for them.
And I want the She-Hulk to be the face of it.
Jennifer Waters. Namaste.
I have a serious conflict of interest. This man tried to kill my cousin, Bruce.
Yeah, that's quite all right.
Oh.